Today's workout is workout number 3 from the C-section recovery plan. This workout is gentle and perfect for my newly postpartum moms, especially if you've had a C-section. We're going to work for 50 seconds and take 10 seconds of rest. All you need is a mat. Let's get started. Hey mamas, welcome to our C-section recovery program workout number 3. If you haven't done workouts number 1 and 2, be sure to do those for at least a week or 2 before moving to workout 3 as it progresses as you get stronger. We're gonna start with that quadruped breathing and do it a little differently this time. So you're coming onto your hands and knees, make sure you're on a soft surface, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're gonna take a deep breath in, inflate that belly like you're inflating a balloon, deep breath out, pulling that belly button in toward your spine. Now I want you to keep it pulled in toward your spine. In and pull it in further, breathe out. So you're keeping that belly pulled in. Do you see what I'm doing? And I'm breathing in more shallow. And I'm kind of making a sound as I breathe out. So when you breathe in, really tight. When you breathe out, you're bracing your core, almost like you're trying to spit something out. And that's gonna fire up those TVA, those transverse abdominal muscles. That's too intense, go back to the deeper breathing. Again, you'll see that in workouts 1 and 2, the deeper breathing. Okay, you can keep going with that. Again, I know you can do more when you're not talking. We're gonna move on to a bird dog. We're gonna do the arms and the legs this time. So front arm, back leg are gonna lift up. Arm shoulder height, leg hip height, bring it back down, let's switch. So we're advancing now to lifting the arm and leg at the same time. So that's gonna create a little more stability. I want you to pull that belly in toward your spine like we did in that breathing. I want you to reach your arm, thumb up, leg about hip height, drive through the heel. And again, we're trying to minimize movement from the trunk. So that's your core, your hips. We wanna create stability there by pressing evenly through the hand and the knee that's on the ground. And again, we don't wanna take the leg too high or the arm too high, that might throw you off balance. Slower the better. In most of these exercises, we want to move with control, nice and slow. And again, I'm looking at about a few inches in front of my hands. And let's rest. We're gonna move on to a glute bridge. So you've seen this one the last 2 workouts. We're gonna come onto our backs here, feet close to your butt, abs drawn in and braced. We're gonna drive those hips up. Again, high enough to where we feel it in those glutes and hamstrings, not the front of the legs. If you do, you're going too high with those hips. Driving out of the heels, you can even lift your toes. You don't need your toes on the ground. The heel is gonna send that work into the hamstrings and the glute. So we're gonna push them down. Exhale on the way up. General rule of thumb, on the eccentric phase of the exercise, that's usually the hard part. That's when you want to exhale. So that would be the top of a glute bridge, the top of a squat, for example. Glute bridge is definitely my top 5 exercises for the pelvic floor and the core, which is why we're doing them in every video of this series. Rest, we're gonna move on to a glute bridge. This time we're gonna march. So we've done the supine march on our back, we're gonna do it in the bridge. So hips are gonna start up and we're gonna alternate the legs. Front knee comes over your hip, place it down, back leg comes up. So you can see my knees at 90 degrees over my hip. As I lift that leg, my hips don't drop. That's your goal. Can you keep your hips up? That's goal number 1. Goal number 2, place your hands on your hip bones. Can you keep them stable? Do you feel your hips shifting? As you lift the leg, does your hip drop and collapse? Try to keep them stable as best as you can so you can control the movement from your core. Moving really slow here. Again, you'll find that one side is a little more difficult and that's totally fine, but we're working on that symmetry here. There's always going to be imbalances, but we want to try to strengthen them as best as we can. And rest. All right, we're going to move on to that supine march. So now we're going to just lay on our backs, pull that belly in and march the legs to work those deep core muscles and isolate them. So let's go. Keeping that belly button pulled in, lower back toward the mat. That's the best indicator you know if your core is being engaged properly. You don't want to see that coning or that pooching or feel back pain here. Try to relax your neck. A lot of times people too, just really, people as in myself, tense up, and people I've worked with too, tense up in their neck and shoulders, and we want to relax that as best as we can. Send that energy and that focus to the core. Relax your jaw here. Try not to tense up and compensate for a weak core. That's not going to help you. That's just going to make you more tense, right? So if this is too intense for you to do right now, if you can't keep those core muscles engaged, just take it a little slower and start with 20 seconds. Work your way up to it. It's not about pushing yourself to do something hard for the sake of pushing yourself. All right, we're gonna move on to a supine reverse march. So we're gonna take those knees up over the hips now, shins parallel to the ceiling. We're gonna tap the front foot and lift back up. Tap the back foot and lift back up. So this one's gonna be quite a bit more intense. You're probably gonna feel your hips shift, your lower back try to lift off the mat. If it does, gently engage, pull that belly in, push the back down, stabilize as best as you can. A little movement is not bad, but again, if you're feeling back pain, your back cannot stay on the floor, your abs are coning, or you're feeling that core intolerance, back off a bit. Go back to that first marching exercise, go back to workout number 2, or just decrease the time spent in this interval and work your way up to it. What I don't want you to do is compensate by pulling your knees in or just performing the exercise with improper form, because that's, again, not going to get you anywhere. I want you to get the most out of this. That's why I over-explain pretty much everything. All right, we're gonna move on to a supine single leg march with a 45 extension. So we did this in workout number 1. So that front leg is gonna come up, extend to 45 degrees, bring it in, and tap. We're gonna stay on that same side for the whole interval. So it's up, press out, in, tap. Knee over the hip, extend out. Again, lower back toward the mat. We wanna keep that core tight with the movement, especially as we take the leg out. That's when you're gonna feel the abs have to work a little bit harder. If it's too intense to do straight out, you can take it up, or just stay with that supine march. Up, out, in, tap. And again, we're doing one side at a time so we can really focus on that one side, fatigue it, and then move on to the other. Unilateral training is so good for the core. All right, we're gonna rest here, move on, do the same thing with the other leg. Here we go, back leg goes up, out, in, and light tap. Keeping that breath going, but again, keeping the abs tight. So we never wanna hold our breath. Even though our belly's pulled in, you can still breathe. You're just not taking breaths from your belly, you're taking breaths from your diaphragm. So there's a difference, right? And you can see that even in the shallow and the deep breath work we've done in the past couple workouts, there's a difference. And if you want more breath work, just stay with it for longer. You can also add things if you wanna add exercises or add time to the exercises. Some of them you might find you need a little bit more time in to get the benefits, and that is perfectly fine. I want you to feel like you have options here. Now let's do one more. And rest. Okay, we're gonna move on now to our feet, to the full body portion. We're gonna start with a good morning again, so feet on your hips, hands across your chest, hinge forward, back comes flat, parallel to the ground, stand up, squeeze those glutes. So again, we're driving the hips back, driving them forward, squeezing at the top, but not overextending. We wanna keep those hips in neutral position right here under the shoulders, so those glutes stay engaged. Pulling the belly button in toward the spine right here at the top. So all these moves are designed to heal your core post C-section, heal your ab separation, your pelvic floor, back pain, tailbone pain, that C-section shelf, which part of that is just taking time from the swelling, excess body fat from pregnancy. Again, it's all about being slow and steady with everything, but also doing the things we can to heal and recover, right? Breathe and rest. All right, we're gonna move back to the eccentric squat. So we took out the shallow squat. If you need it, bring it back. If you're ready for the eccentric squat, join me here. So sitting back, 2, 3, and up. 1, 2, 3, and up. So sitting back into those hips, knees forward, hips back, weight in the heels, chest up. As you come up, breathe out. That's eccentric phase. Squeeze that booty. Knees are soft, hips under shoulders right here. So it's 3, 2, 1, squeeze. If you can, work those hips even lower now that we've done this a few times. If you can get your hips almost to your knees, or even lower than that, depending on your flexibility. What I don't want to see is that chest drop, that spine round, those knees drive out over the toes. Good form is paramount here. You can do whatever you want with your arms. You can see I probably do different things sometimes. Doesn't really matter as long as you're not pushing on your legs here. Take a break. Okay, we're gonna move to a double pulse squat. So we're gonna intensify that squat. Same position, hands out front. We're gonna do 2 pulses. 1, 2, then stand up. As deep as you wanna go, up to you. 1, 2, stand up. Breathe out at the top. You can even put your hands on your core and feel that contraction. That might even help you think. Engage, and then squeeze that booty at the top, but remember, knees are soft. I don't want you to think lower is better. I want you to think good technique. So if that means you're up a little higher, you can do that, absolutely. Remember, it's a 10-part series, so 10 workouts means we've got plenty of time, plenty of squats coming up, plenty of opportunities for you to get better at this one, get stronger. Again, like I said earlier, it's all about respecting your body and going slow to build strength and not forcing things, not forcing weight loss, not forcing strength. It's going to happen, but you've got to give yourself time. All right, moving to an eccentric lunge, dropping the back knee toward the floor for 3, 2, 1, stand up. Front knee presses out, front thigh comes parallel to the floor. 3, 2, 1. Back knee should almost go to the floor. If you want, you can tap it. Nice and light. Chest is up, abs are tight. And you can see my feet are enough distance apart where I can hit that 90-90 range for each leg. If you're too short, that knee is going to push out over your toes, and that might cause you some knee pain. So I want you to make sure you've got a long enough stride, and then also that you're pushing through your front heel to engage your glute at the top. So that way you're putting that pressure more into the glutes and therefore more into the core. Couple more. 3, 2, 1, rest. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing other side. Same thing, here we go. So nice long stride here in 3, 2, kiss the knee or lightly tap. 3, 2, 1, or hover it is what I mean. 3, 2, 1, pulling that belly in and up. So engage pelvic floor, squeezing through that, pressing through that heel, squeezing the glute. So we engage the glute. All those deep core muscles are working together in this one. So when we think core, a lot of times we think abs, right? But it's so much more than that. And that's why these workouts are full body, because I want you to strengthen all those muscles that are connected to really make the core strong. And again, it's more than just our abs that are affected by pregnancy and childbirth, right? So we're trying to go for holistic, full body healing here. And rest. I'm getting out of breath. We're moving to our inchworms. So onto the back of your mat. We're gonna come down into that squat, crawl forward onto hands and knees. Here we go. So sitting back into that squat, crawl forward, hands and knees touch down. Crawl back in through that squat, stand all the way up. So you're squatting first, again, not rounding your back, not dropping your chest, lightly tapping the knees. Again, nice and light. I want that pressure to be light and you to move gently, intentionally. So when you place the hands down, when you push the knees down, you're not just like falling to the floor, right? Everything here is controlled. And it doesn't take much. Try talking through it. You'll be out of breath. It doesn't seem like it would be a super difficult workout, but especially postpartum. I mean, your body has been through so much. Things are different. Things are gonna feel different and feel more challenging than maybe they used to, and that's okay. Rest. We're gonna move to our forearm plank on the right and left, and then we're gonna be done. So bending the bottom knee, elbow in line with the hip, 90 degrees, lifting that bottom hip up, and then reaching the arm. We're gonna hold it 50 seconds right here. So pulling that belly button in toward your spine, in and up, lifting the bottom hip, Breathing, I like to reach up with my hand, it kind of helps me, but you can do whatever you want with that arm. Actively pressing through the bottom forearm. Anchoring through the straight leg on top. Breathing, but keeping that belly pulled in. You can look up, you can look down, you can put your hand on the ground if you need more support, but keep that hip up. Even if you need to touch it down for a second, do that. You know, it's not about, again, muscling through it and just trying to do it for the sake of getting through the interval. I want you to be patient and respect your body, and maybe you don't do as long as we're doing today. You can work up to it. Rest. All right, move to the other side. I wasn't doing this right when I got cleared for exercise postpartum, so just keep that in mind. Lift, embrace, reach, pull that belly in, lift the hip. So take your time. If you've just been cleared to exercise, make sure, again, you're starting with workout 1, but then give yourself time and be patient, depending on where you're at before, during, and after pregnancy, depending on your birth, depending on your recovery. Everything is gonna feel different and look different. So respect where you are at personally, do what you can do, and ease into it and be patient, and don't get frustrated if things aren't happening as fast as you want, because that'll happen. It won't happen as fast as you want, but to respect your body hormonally, metabolically, it takes time. So that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to push ourselves to do too much too soon. So I hope you'll find that these workouts help you get to a holistic place of recovery. And rest. We're done. Sometimes talking through the exercises helps you get through them a little faster, right? So that was workout number 3 for our C-section recovery program. Again, we're about a third of the way there. We've got 10 workouts total. So make sure you stay with each workout for about a week, up to 3 weeks. So stay with this one at least a week, or until you feel like you've mastered the exercises, then we'll move on together to workout number 4. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you back here for our next workout together.